Hello. Hey, everybody. It is Caleb here at the uh, House of Shenanigans. We're going to once again play a little bit of D&D tonight, and I'm very excited about this. As usual, I'm joined by my good friends and Jim. Um, Thank you, everybody, for playing. It's great. So I'll give you a real quick, let everybody introduce themselves. I'll give a quick recap of what happened last time, and then we'll jump right in. So let's go first with Clyde.
Hello. Hey, everybody. I'm back. We're back. I will be playing Gardane, and it's good to be back.
Excellent. Matt.
I will be playing Cajun Moonseeker, a shifter druid who has recently, for the first time, connected with the druid circle. He hadn't done that before, and he's recently done that, and doing so has shown him a whole new world of power that he has access to in the druid circle. And he is very blown away by what he can do now.
Very good. Eric.
Hello, folks. I am Eric. I hope everyone had a great and happy Turkey Day. I am Eric, and I will be playing the legendary half-pint warrior known as... Oh, God, I had to remember his name for a second. Ulthane, brother to Gardane, but I'm the better brother, so don't worry about it. Gardane isn't. So, yeah.
Jim. Are you there?
I am, hopefully. Hey, I'm Jim, and Critter. Critter has been struggling because of a loss of his powers, in the most simple terms. Kind of figuring out what to do, and opposed to fill a role in this group now.
All right, great. So last time, what we experienced was everybody made it back to Horizon. That would be all of the party members and Craig. He brought the milestone back. Everybody had been back and had interactions with a handful of different individuals, though he is dealing with this apparent loss of power. Critter was kind of approached by many of the pages and given 2 relaxation balls to help him get through this time. And he has seemed to take a liking to him. I don't want to make a character choice for you, but it seems like he's enjoyed those. Cajun was actually asked in Horizon. He dealt with a situation where many of the, I guess probably the best way to put it, many of the markings and land and vegetation and things like that that had been trod upon by the Thrycreen scavengers and raiders, nothing was growing back, and everything seemed to be dying around it and slowly spreading out. But he, along with the power of the Weeping Belladonna, were able to push back this negative energy, which was the opening of this avenue of power that perhaps Cajun or that Matt was describing earlier for us. But he was granted that capability to keep that Weeping Belladonna, this petrified flower. Gardane had a situation with all of the other clerics, other priests, other men of the cloth, other faith fighters, where he was given his brand. They took a piping hot brand itself and put it on the inside of his palm, where it would essentially serve as a symbol of recognition among the group, the Heroes Guild, and maybe even more privately, just the clerics themselves. Everybody had a big dinner when Cass put together, or Uther Cass, head of the Stockade Heroes Guild, put together essentially a end of the year meeting, a quarterly review. You can name it a lot of different things, but he essentially wanted to get all the heroes together. And at this, he was talking about how he was going to give some people some new tasks. Certain teams were going to be shaken up a little bit, mix and matched. Other teams were going to be put on some other jobs. And once that work actually began rolling in, then they'd be able to assign those jobs. Uther made his way over to our party's portion of the table, which I believe, if I recall correctly, Ulthane was not present because he had eaten way too much and stuff was just not sitting right. So he was not actually present for this part of the conversation. But Uther did make the request, well, not necessarily a request, but said that their next job was going to be trying to find a way to get the adventurers out to advertise a little bit in an area where they hadn't been called to very often. So adventuring advertisers essentially are advertising adventurers either way. And this place was called the Silver Glade. It's far south, and I believe Gardain jumped on board as soon as he heard the word airship, which is exciting. So Uther told him that they would be able to leave in the next couple of days. They're still going to be compensated. Everything, would be taken care of as far as getting down there. But then the objective is to just go around and if there are people out there, we could either help or we would be able to just make sure that they're aware that the Heroes Guild is there should they have any concerns. And then kind of the last thing that happened was a peculiar event. Everybody was, and by everybody I don't mean all the party members, I mean everybody, was approached by all unique versions of the little halfling that named Mudbath, who had come out of one of those cylinders from Uther's office long ago. A different version walked up to everybody and said, "Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you?" And acted like he would shake their hands. And one thing that I know that Cajun experienced and Gardain experienced is they passed right through him. And maybe oddly enough, Uther didn't say anything about it. Other than that, last highlight that I want everybody to remember, perhaps the most important thing that happened last session, is that Craig got a dog, and that dog's name is Captain. So where we are going to pick up, of course, that's a joke. I hope everyone enjoys a little kerfuffle. So I think where I'd like to pick up is actually, let's go 4 days prior to the dinner. And Ulthane, it's early in the morning. You're asleep in your bed, and you hear a knocking at your door.
He rolls. Well, I say roll. I mean fall out of bed. He falls out of bed. Stumbles to the door as best I have. I have asleep. Half woken, half asleep dwarf can.
Do you answer it?
Yeah, yeah. He opens the door, like just halfway to look out of it.
And there's nobody there.
He, huh? Goes back to bed.
As soon
Been
as,
in my
your,
dream.
as soon as your head hits the pillow, you hear a knocking at your door.
He goes, I've had these dreams before that you can't wake up. That when you wake up, something's happening. And all right, fine. He this time gets up, walks back to the door, walks back to the door, and opens the door. Peeks out the door.
So yeah, you open the door this time and still nothing. No one there.
I'm going to just try something. He shuts the door again, walks over to his pillow, and hits it.
As soon as you take a couple of steps away from the door, before you even make it to your bed, you hear a knock at the door.
He walks back to the door and he goes, I am opening the door for whatever reason, whatever practical joker is knocking on my door. I do not find it funny. I don't find it funny. He slowly opens the door.
And as you open the door this time, a light seems to be shining through. And by the time you get it all the way open, you're standing there and this brightness is in front of your face. You're squinting. You can't hardly keep your eyes open. There's just this enormous light in front of you and you can't make out any other shapes. And as you go to kind of put your hand up to your eyes, some force, not necessarily a couple of hands, not necessarily, somebody, but a force pulls you into the light. Do you resist?
I would say so, considering he doesn't know what the deuce is going on.
Okay. Make a let's compose or do a strength check. You can use your proficiency.
That is a whopping 12.
All right. So you sit there and it's almost like you grab the frame of the door as you do this, but as soon as you feel like, all right, I got a good grip, you get jerked inside. And you find yourself face first down on a featureless floor.
Says I died in my sleep, didn't I? Well, I knew it was going to get to me one day.
So as you kind of stand up and start gathering your bearings, you look around you and you realize that not just the floor is featureless. The only thing that is in this space where you are is this rolling white smoke that comes up to about your knees and just constantly just rolls through. But you look around you and you are standing in this blank space. There are no trees. There is no building. You are not in your room. You're not in the hallway outside your room. Everything is white and featureless, but it is not as bright as it was. So it's not painful for you.
No. He looks around and goes, not quite what I thought the afterlife would look like. He kind of just looks around.
As off to the side, as you're kind of looking around, kind of scanning, you see almost a beam of light coming just in an enormous column that just stretches higher than you can see and seems to go down through whatever this floor is. But you see it off in the distance and it's glinting off of something.
I'll make my way in that direction. It's like,
And you take these steps, and you walk for a minute or two, and you don't feel like you're actually getting any closer. You finally hear a voice, and it just says, "Approach carefully."
this being the first time he's heard a voice, he goes, looking around, he, as careful as he can, approaches the, tries to approach the, since the only thing that he can see at a distance, I should say. As cautious one as can approach.
And this voice just seems to be coming from all around you, and when it speaks, it echoes and kind of goes throughout the room, and to the point where it just sounds like muddled sounds off in the distance. But again, this is, you have a task. There will be born one day a hero. And this, and as soon as he says that, the steps that you have been taking that have been making no progress. Now all of a sudden you find yourself face to face with, you find yourself just kind of staring at this perfectly round, banded steel, with the band seem to face just around the outside, leaving this wide open center of just smooth brushed metal.
Sorry, continue.
No. This is that hero's shield.
Old thing kind of looks at the shield and looks at, is looking around and goes, and how will I know this hero?
It is unlikely that you will ever come face to face with him. However, the magic that this shield must possess in that hero's time of need is not currently present. What we need is aid.
Aid from what?
It is not from what, but for what. For protection. For guidance. For love. And from the end.
Old thing says, I have no problem on maybe giving something to a hero that is deserved. Any tales in dwarven society that talk about demons, devils, especially in the paladin society, they talk about demons and devils hiding hiding their appearance and tempting mortals. I would feel a lot comfortabler if I knew whom I was speaking with.
The hero too will be faced with temptation. He will give in. But the shield will save the day long before this occurs. Simply, you speak to the Guardian.
All right. All things is all right. What am I to do? You want me to take the shield?
Yes. Bear the load for now. You will not have to hand over the shield. The hero will not be ready to wield it himself for many years.
And the whole thing nods and he says, all right. Well, not I. He says, he says, all right then. He says, then I will bear this shield. I says, I will bear the shield until that time comes then.
For the shield to truly be ready, all you have to do is defend. And you wake up in your bed.
he looks around. He goes, and I look around to see if I can spot the shield.
You do not see it.
He said, do I remember what the shield looks like? Like, did it have a crest? Did it have...
So there was just, it was essentially banded around the outside with little rivets, but the entire middle of this shield, which it is a large, it's, I mean, it's smaller than a wagon wheel, but it's still very large. It seems like it's bigger than a standard shield. But the entire center was just this blank, almost reflective brushed metal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I get you. I got the picture now. Yeah. All right. He goes, that was a weird dream. But before he does finish his rest, he will grab a piece of parchment and kind of jot down what he remembered it looked like. Because, you know, he's a smithy, so, you know, he pretty good at, you know, shields, all that good stuff. So
as you're kind of doodling down this picture, you hear a knock at the door.
he goes, surely okay, fine. He gets up, puts his hand on the door, and goes, who is it?
Said, it's me, dude.
I opened the door. I says, yeah.
Yeah, and you can see Greg sitting there with Captain next to him, and he's like, "Hey, man, I just wanted to say, and I know it's been a couple of weeks, but I really thought that everything that we were able to do in Horizon was just rad, dude. It's total bitching." And you can tell he looks like he's been drinking. And so this is just kind of that moment. And it's like, anyway, bro, me and the CPT, we're going to go lay down. So catch you later. And he kind of starts to walk away, and Captain trots along behind.
Well, they kind of like, you know, he just stands there with his arms crossed, kind of like with his hand under his chin. He was like, I just got a drunk visit from a high captain, from a superior officer. And with that, he just turns around and goes back inside.
As soon as you turn
kind
around,
of like,
As soon as you turn around, you see there is a metal disc under your bed.
Huh. Well, I reached down under the bed, and because originally he wouldn't know where his shield actually is, just down and pulls his bed because it's just metal disc. Pulls it out. I'm assuming I know what from Dream. I'm assuming I know what it is.
Yeah, from Dream and from the picture you drew, it looks just like it.
He looks at the shield and he goes, "All right, my word is my word."
Awesome. All right, so we fast forward to present day. You guys have woken up the night after the feast, after the company meeting, and you guys have kind of gotten the idea that here in the next day or two, you guys are going to be, once you want to get all the information, you're going to be heading towards the Silver Glade to help people out in that area. But give me an idea. What do you guys want to do?
Just happy to be able
Twitter
to be
is
on the
distracted.
airship.
Is he has those stress balls just rotating them in his hands. And putting his hands up higher, he'll rest his elbows on tables. He'll rest his elbows on chairs, and always trying to keep these faintly jingling metal stress balls rotating in his hands. And he seems calmer than you you probably remember him being. When it comes to getting ready to go somewhere, it's not the yes. It's just that he's lost focus.
Cajun is going through the guild, and he's gathering resources for the trip. Extra resources, just standard common items, extra lamps, extra provisions, and things that people might need. Lengths of rope. Maybe some seeds for planting, just common things that maybe people have run out of or whatever. He doesn't know what to expect where he's going, but he's like, well, we're going on an airship. It would be a place to store these things, and he's just packing extra stuff just in case people will need these sorts of provisions where he's going. They're far to the south, and he doesn't know what's there or what's not there. He might even take some trades goods with him, depending on what's available at the guild. Maybe people will need some trades goods where he's going, so he's just looking around for materials and provisions and getting stuff together for the trip.
Nice. So you, as you're kind of walking around getting stuff together, Rosalind actually catches up with you, and you see her kind of skipping along, and then she spots you and kind of walks solemnly over to you, and she looks at you, and she looks at your staff, and her eyes kind of linger on the belladonna, and without even turning to look at you, she says, "It's beautiful, isn't it?"
Well, yes. Never seen something quite like it.
She just kind of wordlessly stares at it for a little bit. And then she kind of looks over at you and she smiles real big. And she says, "Are you going to take it with you?"
Of course.
Good. I think that's a really good idea. If it were mine, I'd want it to be real close. Real close.
I want to
And-
honor the memory of those that used it once before from where it comes from.
Where? The ones who used it once before. Who? Have you told her about your vision?
I don't really know. It's a really good question. If she has looked at it before and pondered it before, probably we've talked before.
This is the first time she's gotten this close to it. You maybe from a distance you've seen her and caught her like looking at it, but this is the first time that she's ever walked up and talked to you about it.
In that case, no, I haven't talked to her before about it.
And you can see just kind of the wonder of the people who used it before. Amazing. That's this thing. It's been around longer than me, and probably longer than you, and longer. And she turns and she see to her side, and you hear chunk, 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 chunk. And as your head turns over, you see Sorrow walking by. Very focused, more robotic than you had ever seen it or them. And maybe you even had a little moment where it dawns on you that all of the humanity of Sorrow is standing in front of you in the form of this little girl, but Sorrow is still working without it. And she kind of, the joy of this little girl standing in front of you talking about this beautiful flower all just kind of fades away. And when you turn back, maybe to comfort, Rosalind is gone. But you do find yourself standing in front of the brewman, not the brewman himself, but at least his post. So if there was anything else that you wanted to specifically shop for versus just the standard stuff, by all means, you could go in there and he might have some squirrely bits.
Well, Cajun would certainly ask him. He would rely on Brimman's better knowledge of, like, Brimman's been around for a while, so Cajun tells him where he's going and says if there's anything that he can think of that might be in need or that they could take with them to help out in the journey. And he says that he doesn't really know what, but he asks Brimman's opinion.
Yeah, so Brewman kind of disappears into the back and shuffles back out, and he has this big book and he flips it, and you can see him kind of tracing down and flips the page and traces over and holds up. It's to call it a capsule is wrong, but it's kind of like a D&D capsule where it's got a little stopper at the top that you can push down, or D&D, Dragon Ball Z stopper, where you press a button and it poofs. But on it, you can see there's a little tag that's hanging down, and it says 67. And his finger has tracked all the way to the number 67 in his book. And he says, "Here," and holds it out to you.
Agent will take it and ask what it is.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's not really, it's not going to help you as much as it will help you survive. The glade, according to the research, is very it can be very dangerous. Some wild animals, but perhaps even worse, it's the trip to the glade that can be very dangerous. What this is this will help you when you are in the glade. I can't help you getting there. Just be careful and mind the sea. What this will do is this will, if when the plunger is depressed, throw it into an area, and that area, if there is anything that would be poisonous in nature, it will be sucked into this capsule. And now, there's always a two-way street. If you get it full, please bring it back. I would likely find a way to apply that in many other ways. But the poison, it will keep you from breathing. And if you can't breathe, you can't adventure. If you can't adventure, you can't make money. And if you can't make money, you might as well not adventure. So that's probably all that I have.
Cajun thanks him and says, "I'll be sure to use that if the time comes. Thank you very much." And yeah, just takes his leave.
Very good. Gardane, what are you doing?
Aside from being really, wanting to hurry up and get on the airship, I've been, he carries this stone that carries the oaths of his kin on it. And he turns it on the side, and he just starts to write his exploits that since the day one of his trip. He's been adding runes that tells his deeds, along with his other comrades. Just passing the time, waiting patiently.
Nice. Did you guys set up a time where, where you're waiting patiently, is it safe to assume that maybe Critter is also there?
I don't, if that's what he wants, yeah. I'm sitting not too far away from the airship. I don't want to miss it, so I'm just chiseling away in my little spare time.
So you guys actually will have to go to Uther to get all the information about where you're going and essentially getting your boarding passes and stuff like that. But actually, at this time, Uther would come up behind you, and he would see you, patiently waiting, and he would kind of lean over your shoulder and say, "Gardane, looks like you're ready to go. Do you think you guys will be leaving today?"
I'll hold my hand up for just 1 second and finish the rune and put it down and say, that was our plan. Everybody else has gathered their stuff. I'm ready. I'm already sitting on the stuff, and I have a small keg beside me.
Well, very good then. Is there, can I entrust the directions and documents with you? And that way, whenever you're ready, you don't have to come back and see me. You'll just be able to go.
Sure.
And he kind of puts in your lap a thick binder, sort of. There are no metal rings or anything like that, but it's a paper stacked that are all tied together with twine. And as you kind of thumb through some of them, you see that on there, the airship tickets are already paid for and actually in your possession now. You have a brief a map that looks like it's somewhat old of the Silver Glade. your instincts tell you that it might be a little out of date. And then you also have you have 50. Then this is the thing that seems to be making up most of this package. You have 50 different notes that are all, they all say the same thing. They all have the Stockade letterhead on it that looks like they've all been, magically copied 50 different times. Essentially, it's a flyer.
What are we supposed to do with these flyers?
Oh, that's why you're going down there. Just hand them to people that you see. If you, it's been a while since anybody from West Rock or the Stockade has actually been down, to the Glade, and so if you come across any towns, which it's likely you'll probably run into. At least the city of Kane. That seems likely. In Kane, hand these out maybe to some people of importance, shop owners, anybody who looks like they might be in need. Definitely give one to whatever the governing body is that's down there now. Now, a long time ago, the Glade itself was filled with it was sparsely populated, but something tells me it might have a little bit more in it now. So if you guys find yourself adventuring at all, please make sure that you hand all of these out. Perhaps it is your quest to make sure that all 50 of these find homes with people. Because even if only half of them call on us for a job, that would easily pay at least your party's wage for an entire year. So it would be a great deal of fun. So that's why you have those.
Oh, well, I'll find shop places to nail them up.
Perfect. Yes, and put them in hands as well. Whatever you do, don't throw them away. And you can see like there's a little twinkle of, he needs this sort of thing.
Don't worry. Anybody that I think is important, shop, tavern keeps, innkeepers, pub owners will find these.
And he kind of chuckles. Things like, good. Everybody goes and tells the bartenders their struggles. So that's a good idea. Well, very good. Well, I'll let you get to it. Tell everybody else that I said to be safe. And when the time comes and he taps his temple and you hear in your head without him actually saying a word, I'll call you.
All right.
And Uther turns around and kind of he kind of snaps his finger and another page runs over, and this page has another bundle of flyers, and he kind of puts it in Uther's hand and he tucks it under his arm and he goes walking off.
I'll pick my little satchel up and push it in there because this is the only place it would probably be safe, and latch it up and go back to waiting.
Nice. If everybody's okay with it, if we can, we should take the 5-minute break because I want to make sure that Jim's working. And I'd also like to discuss something else as well that is a little more table talky, and I don't want to necessarily cut the game. So if anybody needs to take a restroom break, go for it. If not, I have questions for Jim. Is it working any better?
No. Oh.
Not really, huh? What do you think? What do you think's going on?
Well, okay. So when I lost internet, my media router, my 5 gigahertz, gone.
Have you reset the router? I know that that would kick us off live, but that might make it so you can play.
Would y'all mind?
I mean, I don't care. Everybody's here today, so we can have the lost episode here, which is going to be a bummer because I know this is going to be a fun one. But
It
I
won't
would
be
rather-
last.
I'd rather it be fun. So
Okay, give me a minute
cool.
then.
Also, wait, before you go, will you put into chat? So you found some magical items last time, Jim, when we were in, when you guys were in the cave dealing with the Thrycreen swarm. You remember all that? I'm just curious which of those you guys held on to and which of those you put into or essentially gave credit to Craig or gave to Craig so that he would give you credit. So if you put that in chat, because I do not remember. I may actually have it written down though. Oh, I totally do. If there's one of those that you wanted, that you thought you would hold on to yourself, put that in chat. Otherwise, I'm going to see what everybody else wants.
Muted.
You're still muted. I don't know what's going on.
I've got everything in a Google Sheet. Did I give Craig the special rod, or did I hold on to that?
I believe technically the spatial rod is in Roland's hands right now.
Correct. Okay. We'll move that back. Yeah, we've got an ever-smoking bottle, a deck of illusion, eyes of the eagle, and a drift globe, and 4 Miloprost potions of healing.
Very good. All right. So sounds like we got the deck of illusions, which I believe had 13 cards. We have a drift globe, an ever smoking bottle, the eyes of the eagle, and a necklace of adaptation. So is there, and also 4 potions of healing. So I was curious if anybody had, if there was anything that anybody was specifically attached to, because I believe what was it? The Eyes of the Eagle was just the leather band that had the 2 sapphires for eyes. The necklace of adaptation looked kind of like a gas mask filter. But I was curious if anybody had any opinions on these or if anybody wanted those. Because since we're about to leave, I'd rather make sure you guys are using this stuff as well as possible if you want to. And if not, then I know that you don't have it.
I'd say the potions of healing. That's pretty much all I would, to be honest.
Okay. So there's 4 of them. Would you guys each want one, or do we want one person to carry some, or what do you guys think about that?
I say divide them out.
Okay.
That way everybody has one and you don't have to run. Somebody doesn't have to run to give everybody potions.
Okay. So split the 4 potions, 1 each. Does anybody particularly want the ever smoking bottle or the drift globe?
I don't know exactly what a drift globe does.
So the drift globe is a floating light source, among other things. It can also, let's see, let me grab my DMG. It can also cast like the daylight spell and things like that.
Oh. How many of us have dark vision? I think we all do, don't we?
So I think that both dwarves do. I believe. Do shifters have dark vision?
Yes, we do.
All right. Do Tabaxi have dark vision? They probably do, huh?
Pretty sure I do.
All right.
Well, if the drift globe is just basically a light source, I think we're pretty good on that.
Yeah, I want to. Let me make sure that I'm not just telling you that, because I'm sure it does other stuff too. All right. So yeah, it speak the command word to emanate light or the daylight spell. So if that's something that you would want to get credit from Craig for, by all means, you're more than welcome to. You can do it for all of this stuff for all I care.
I'm good for it.
You want to hold it or no?
Oh no, I'm good for giving it up.
Okay. Anybody else not want to give it up? Giving it up.
By the way, you all sound so much better now.
All right, we did it.
Oh,
That's
yeah. Cool.
All right.
Well, if we can all see in the dark and I don't know, I guess we could let that go.
All right. Does anybody want the ever smoking bottle? Yay, nay.
I'm good.
Got to know how to
Credit.
Credit.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I guess I could throw it to kind of cover my metal, but it's not. They gonna still know I'm there.
And it only obscures things. We're not really a hiding, obscuring group.
Well, it was fun to dream for about 3 seconds.
I'm a hider.
Do you
Yeah.
want the ever smoking bottle?
No, I was the first to say no.
Okay, cool. All right, so credit there too. Excellent. So the 13 card deck of illusions. Does anybody want that?
Ooh. It's probably best if I say no.
Got to know.
Occasion wouldn't have a reason to use that. I don't think.
I'm good with letting it go. I'm
good with letting it go as well.
All right,
Okay.
very good. So that brings us to the eyes of the eagle.
I think that could come in useful.
Okay. So it does require attunement. So that would mean it would be one person's, not necessarily the party's.
Someone who's already good at perception.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Well, you're kind of a scouter anyway. Like, you like to survey what's going on first before you engage. That's
Yes.
kind of your character. And I think that the Eyes of the Eagle sort of fits that kind of thing. Like, it gives you advantage on perception, and in clear visibility you can see like crystal clear, like even at great distance you can make stuff out, know exactly what's there.
Well, I'm down for it. I'll take it.
All right. And then last but not least, the Necklace of Adaptation.
Let's see what that does. Breathe normally in any environment. Advantage on saving throws against gases and vapors. Yeah. That's pretty much what it does. So if anyone wants to be able to breathe underwater or have advantage against cloud kill and all those sorts of inhaled bad things, then they can take that if they want it. Occasion doesn't really care overly much, I don't think.
I wouldn't mind it.
Cool.
All right.
Eric? If you wanted to, we can have somebody roll. We could have somebody roll off.
No. I'm good. No. You want it, take it, unless Jim wants it.
Nope.
Very good. All right. Sounds good. All right, great. So you each now have a potion of healing. We have kept the Eyes of the Eagle and the Necklace of Adaptation. Great. And you traded in 1, 2, 3 for credit. So then the last thing, and I don't want this to take too much time, but I can definitely see how it could, and if you want to, I'm awesome with it. You guys are actually approached as maybe you have all kind of come together here and you're doing the bomb check to make sure that you're not forgetting anything. You are approached by an older woman who kind of comes over to you guys, and she's in an all-black robe, much like the pages, and she just hands you essentially a small envelope, and she says, Craig would like to see you, if you don't mind, before you leave.
Okay.
Sure.
Cool. So you guys make it. You hit the elevator and go down into Craig's shop, which you guys have been to a couple of times now. I'm sure, maybe more than a couple. But if you recall, this is the big sort of basin downward sloping room that seems to be under the old fort. That's got the big blue essence of a light in the middle, that big column there. The light well, as I recall. But around the room on the walls hung up are all these assorted magical items and things like that you guys have probably gone and kind of perused to see what's in there. And Craig sees you come in and he's like, oh, hey, so this was something that you guys really have been working hard for. So I'm happy that I'm the guy that's going to be able to give you guys what you need. So what's that behind your ear? And he reaches behind Gardain's ear and he pulls back and he's got this sack of coins in his hand. He's like, haha, that's a weird thing to have behind your ear. And he sits it down on the table next to him. And he's like, this is the money that you guys have earned, the spare change, now that you guys are full-fledged heroes, part of the guild. I'm able to give this to you guys. So from Uther, from me, from Bravo, we appreciate all the hard work you guys have done. And we have a couple of options here for you of what maybe you guys could do with the money if you don't just want to take it. And if you do, no hard feelings. These are options we give to everybody. The first option is you guys can just take it. No problems. Like I said, wash your hands. See you later. The other thing that you could do with the money is you guys could turn around and maybe throw in some sick investments in the building itself. You guys could maybe you want to open up your own shop. Maybe you guys want your own section to be your own little meeting hall. Perhaps there's some goodwill that you guys are wanting to do for the people. This money could be used to make some sort of expansion and for a lot of different purposes too. You know, there are places down in West Rock. You could buy a shop down there. Some way to make this money work for you. And then the last thing is because, and this is just between us, don't tell Uther, because you guys got that credit from those other items, I could probably work in maybe one special thing off the shelf, and he kind of gives you all a wink.
Looking up, you hear the faint jingling. Looking around the shelves. Looking at the rest of the party.
I don't really know anything else we need, really.
Invest in Craig. I have not heard of people turning down the money to invest it into the stockade.
Oh, well, you've definitely been to places. There's the bar. There are there's the Orthodox, the stables in West Rock, the Iron Bar. Those are all places that were either funded by or built by or bought from money earned at the guild.
Wait, I can invest in the bars?
Sure, but it wouldn't necessarily be the bars themselves. You could make your own bar if you wanted to, or you could just invest in the company itself. So they call it like buying shares, where you get a portion of the money that we make from all of our jobs. Now, it's not a great deal of money for a single job, but if you consider how many jobs we do, it ends up being a pretty big chunk.
So I can't invest in the bars, but I can invest in the guild.
Sure. Or if you wanted to make your own place, you could do that, and then that money would be yours. 25%.
I see something on his shelf that you might want.
Not yet.
Cajun sort of shakes his head and looks at the weeping belladonna and says, "I've received more than I could have dreamed."
I've lost more.
Well,
Maybe it would be best if we took the money now, and then whenever we decided we would come back and tell Craig?
Old thing says, I have an idea.
Yes.
How big is the shop? Like, out of character wise, how big is the shop? Is it pretty big?
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Old thing says, I have an idea. Let's browse the shop. You never know what you'll find. Standing here, gazing over it. If I've learned anything from my sisters, it's shop around. If in, so many minutes you don't find anything, then we'll just take the money. And looks around. He goes, because that's what I am going to do.
Says, all right. So you guys are going to take the money then.
Yeah,
Just we can try to make the money work for us. We'll figure out a way. Perhaps there is something where we're going that needs financial support as well. Who knows?
Okay. Well, no problem. And he picks up the coin sack, and as he picks it up off of the table, it actually swells in size. And he holds it out. And Gardain, I imagine you put your hand out, and he kind of drops it in there. And he says, all right, well, for the 6 of you, for the services rendered, along with the credit that you would have had with the weapons, credit in the store is worth more than the money I can give you back for it. You've all been to Game Exchange. You know how it works. The short of it is, you guys will be walking around with quite a bit of money. So if you need us to hold it for you, obviously we have our vaults. We can hold it. But in that sack, there's 6,000 gold. You will be looking at 1,500 apiece. Take what you need with you. As they say, you don't have to stay here, but well, I don't know how it goes. And the door opens, and Captain comes running in, and Craig starts playing with Captain.
$1,000.
Do what? 6,000? Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Is there a bag of holding? Like an anime.
He was too much for him.
What?
Probably Cage would take, I don't know, two small sacks of 150 gold each from his portion, and take that with him. So he's got 300 gold with him, but in 2 different places, just in case he gets robbed.
Yeah, I hope Jim puts all his money in one sack, because I'm going to take it.
But the rest he would just leave in the vault. He doesn't believe that he's going to need thousands of gold where he's going. So
Sure.
he's just going to take 300 gold with him.
That is
I'm
sound.
tempted to take it all. Shiny.
Huh? I'm leaving my gold here. Oh, by the way, what the deuce does that shield do?
Oh, I need to put that in the chat for you.
Oh, all right. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Normal shield. That is awesome.
But this one's round.
Yeah, show don't tell here.
It's
gonna
kind
be-
of shiny and reflective.
Definitely. Very good. Okay, so are we about to follow the instructions on how to get Clyde on that airship that he so badly wants to get on?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. So Gardane, you guys kind of start making your way to the door, and Gardane, you thumb through it a little bit, but now you kind of read it out loud for everybody. And what it says is that you guys, oh, now I've lost my spot. You guys are needing to head south of West Rock. It's about 2 days straight south. The path doesn't really veer. It's a fairly, for what it is, as close to paved as possible. There's stones kind of leading the way. All the way down to the city of Veradil, which I'll put all of this stuff in the chat as I say it. And in Veradil, you guys, it says, oh, this Veradil, it's a city to the south. It's a big tourist attraction because this is sort of their entire city is built around the fact that if the Wright brothers were fantasy characters, this is where they did everything. The first flight, the creation of like structures that could fly, not just, a wizard can make himself fly. These are flying machines, things like that. So it's based down there, and you guys are just essentially going to be boarding onto a airship at the docks, and the airship is the Sliger's Pride. And the commander of the boat, his name is Sliger. But he also kind of thumbs through and says, it's got all the tickets, everything like that has been paid for, and even a wagon has been pre-purchased for you guys to go from West Rock to Veradil. So all you guys would need to do is just head to the stables.
Done.
Asian heads to the stables.
I do that. Great. Very good. All right. So you guys kind of make your way down to the stables. Let's see. Rufus is running the West Rock stables. You guys have interacted with him before when you got horses for Horizon. But he's working the stables here. You guys hand him the voucher, and he's already got the cart ready to go. So you guys load up. Is there anything you want to do on West Rock before you decide to head south?
Nope.
Perfect.
Yeah, I have one. You said they could hold our money in the vault.
Yeah, the vault is in the stockade for sure.
Right. I would like to. I've got about 1,800 gold. I think I need to put it somewhere instead of walking around with that much money.
Okay. Are you putting it all in there? Or are you taking any with you?
Yeah, I'm going to take the odd number, but I'm going to put the 1,800. No, I'm going to put $1,835. I don't think I need that much money with me.
Okay. Great. So it sounds like Cajun's paying the bills. Very good. Well, so you guys load up on the wagon and start heading south. It's a fairly peaceful trip because, again, you kind of come out of the mountainous terrain and get into more of the rolling hills where it's just sort of an open plains. No real forest. There's the trees and stuff like that every once in a while, but the grass is green. It is middle of springtime. You can see some of the flowers have bloomed and things like that. The sun is high. But yeah, you guys are just traveling. Is there anything you guys want to say to each other?
Sure. As Critter continues to travel with you, and even from the point that you leave the stockade, Critter has this nasty, large, curved blade strapped to his back. Not like sheath, but literally just strapped to his back. It's the one with the tassel hanging from the end, and he's sometimes he'll stop and he'll look at his claws, but now he keeps that blade on his back.
I guess Cajun would ask if he's had any inclination that any part of his powers might be back, or if it's all still just completely gone.
As far as I can tell, everything's gone. I can't even focus. I just don't seem to be able to focus. He looks over at you and his eyes get a little intense. Then you watch him just stop, sigh, and go back to rotating these metal jiggly balls in his hand.
Oh, you think something may have threw you out of joint?
A joint? Absolutely. I have no idea what it could be, but whatever it is, I wish I could get rid of it.
Well, we still got a lot of road to cover. We could figure this one out.
Right, and I can still be helpful. I have my blade.
So long as you have your sword arm, my friend, you will still always be useful. Powers.
Here's hoping.
And the first day kind of comes to a close. Pretty uneventful. But are you guys traveling through the night to get there first thing in the morning? The ticket says that it's not that Sliger's Pride is waiting on you, so there's not like a train to catch or anything like that.
I would guess we would stop and rest if it's not going to leave without us. We're not in no deadpan rush.
Great.
Yeah,
So
I forgot to tell you guys, and I pull out the thing with the flyers. We're supposed to hand these out to people of importance. If I forget, you remember.
All right.
Well, very good. So the next day starts up, and you guys find yourself in the. You get night passes no problem there, but you find yourself just a little bit before noon, kind of cresting over this hill. When you get to the top of it, you look down, and in front of you, you see this amazing sight. Realistically, what you see are these long stretches of stone kind of laid out on either side of the road, and along them you see these wooden machines kind of just racing down them, and then finally they'll take off and they'll float over the ground for a few hundred yards and then land again. And you see, just with your eyes of the eagle specifically, you can make out these jovial celebrations of people. And even further off in the distance, you see what has to be Veridil. Now, it has to be Veridil because there are airships, blimps, single propeller mechanisms floating around. There are people who look like they are on, bicycles that are pedaling and getting everything to get floating and flopping and everything like that. And that seems to be how most of the people here that you can see are getting around. There are those who are walking specifically towards one large triangular building that it almost looks like the Louvre, sort of a pyramid, towards the middle of the town. There's a lot of people gathered outside of that. And then on the other side of town, you see 3 airships lined up side by side.
I look at my brother. I says, do we really have to get on those things?
Yes, we do. I wonder how much one of them costs.
About 6,000 gold.
I backhand my brother. You will terrorize me with that thing. No.
I push him off the wagon. Yes, I will.
So you guys get into town, and from a distance, this place looked fairly busy. From up close, this place is crazy busy. Just a mass of humanity. There's way more people on the ground than you initially thought, and there are so many people in the sky on these 1- and 2-man vessels that seem to be floating, flying, gliding. Everything from people holding parasails to those on those single propeller bicycle flying machines to blimps that are way above. But it's just a huge mass of humanity to the point where you guys kind of see where the stables are, but to get to them, you're probably not going to be able to get there in your wagon.
I've not stopped looking at the flying zeppelins and stuff. Like Ulthane is just like he is just like just shaking his head like nope.
I'm just waiting, trying to find the one that we're looking for.
So you can deduce that the one you guys are looking for are on the far side, but you're probably going to have to find somewhere to put these, put this wagon before you can go check that out.
If we're passing by and I see somebody, I was like, hey, where do we put wagons? Just anybody I can see.
Yeah, so there's one of these many faces in the crowd kind of turns up to you and he points off to the side. And this human man just kind of points over to the side, and somebody else walks up to you and she's got this big roll of tickets and she tears one off and she puts it in your hand, Gardain, and says, the line starts here. And enjoy your stay. Thank you so much for coming to see the exhibit. And this woman with the big roll just walks right past you and is handing one to everybody who's passing by.
Ulthane looks at his brother and goes, why would we be putting the wagon in a stable? A wagon to get where we're going?
Oh no, there's an exhibition now.
Do what?
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, I'm reading off this ticket. You get to fly in one. You got the one with the gold leaf. You're the winner. You get to fly.
Ulthane hops off the wagon. Nope. Nope.
Ulthane, as soon as you land on the ground, a guy walks over and he kind of takes the yoke for the two horses that have been leading, and he says, it's gonna be one gold for us to hold it for the day. It's pretty busy. And he kind of holds his hand out.
Cajun sort of says, we're not just here for the day. We need to board the Slicker's Pride and venture far, far to the south.
Oh,
there's somewhere we can permanently store it.
Yes. Are you guys from the guild?
That's correct.
Oh, perfect. Just hop down. I'm sorry about the humanity. Today's kind of a big day. The museum is this is you may not be aware, but this is a big tourist attraction-y town. This is where we make most of our money, is here over these couple of weeks. It's a real nice stop if you're not in a hurry. The museum's right there, and he points at the big triangular building where everybody is standing outside of. But if you guys get all your stuff, we'll take this to the stables, and you guys can come get it. We've been paid up front, so we'll just charge the guild on the back end.
Very well.
Sure. And on me, all I have is a large backpack and a sack with my blade and his hands on it. I'm just wearing traveling clothes right now.
Can Cajun have gotten a small like hand pulled cart for all of the trades goods and stuff that he's brought along?
Yeah, the little guy would snap his fingers and someone would come running over and he would point at all the stuff, and the guy would turn to you and say, "Are you taking that on the Pride? Are you taking that with you?"
Yes.
Okay, perfect. We're boy, load this up and take it to the Pride and make sure nothing's lost. These guys work for the guild. And so a guy walks over with a hand cart and starts putting all your stuff, and he's offering to take everybody's stuff that they don't feel like they need on them.
I'll even leave my sword.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take Gardain's stuff and hand it to him. So I'm stripped down to just normal clothes.
Okay.
and I'll get and I'll look and I'll get all the Ulthane stuff and hand it to him too. He won't need it.
I look at my burger. Whoa, 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 whoa! You do not touch my hammer.
You're not going to need it. Give it to him and just be without it. You're not going to need a weapon on a boat.
That thing is in the air. You mean to tell me that it's 100% safe, that there is not a fraction of a chance that anything could possibly happen?
Interesting that you bring that up, says the stable guy. Says there's actually a very, very interesting exhibit at the museum if you wanna see that. And you can see like he's like, please stay and spend money. Like you get that out of his voice.
I lean over to my brother and I go, I've seen some of our people act like this. It says spend money.
We're going.
Let him take his weapon if he needs it. I'll be taking mine just first off to lean on, but never know what's going to happen.
Okay. So I say we go and let's go spend some money. I want to go see this exhibit.
And so you guys would have gotten to town, maybe about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so fairly early midday, or in the afternoon, not midday. But you make it, and you guys are kind of standing in this, like I say, large mass of humanity. And the closer and closer you get to this big building, there are shops on the side. Everybody seems to be selling. All of the shops are selling the same stuff. They are all selling little knickknacks. They are all selling these masks that look like they're all colored differently, but the carving is the same, and they're all made out of wood. But this carving is, it looks like a couple of spiraling ram's horns off of the face. Some of them are painted half and half. Some of them have all kinds of crazy colors. And the patrons, or not the patrons, but the keeps of these stalls and shops keep like trying to say, "Hey, come in. You want to see? We got the best stuff. It's in here. Come check this out." Every single person is selling tiny little versions of all of these flying machines that you're seeing. But they're all along all of these sides. As you're kind of in line, pushing your way forward towards the doors of this museum, you start to hear this voice, and you can't really make it out. It's and you start to notice there are people also walking the other direction. And finally, you make it to where you guys are next in line. And there is a excited gnome standing there with a big top hat and this big swirling mustache that seems to be wider than he is tall. And he's standing on this box and he's like, "Tickets, please."
Along the way, I will have gotten distracted, and I'm probably a few gold lighter, having bought some tasseled trinket. If we've got tickets, I'll just hand it to him.
Yeah, everybody, that lady with the big roll kind of was tearing them off, and she handed one to everybody as you guys passed by her. But yeah, so you hand a, "Enjoy your stay. Tickets, please."
Handy my
Wait.
ticket.
Go ahead. Looking up. Do I know you?
Have you ever been to the museum?
No. But your
Well.
voice is almost unmistakable.
Perhaps you have me confused with someone else.
Say party.
Party?
And I'm looking at everybody else. Just, I've stopped rotating the balls and I'm holding them. I'm just going. Nobody else. I'm sorry.
Well, now you can say you've been. Tickets, please.
I'll walk on in.
I'll look and I'll narrow my eyes a little bit at when he brings it up, when Critter brings it up. She can't be everywhere, can she?
I'm
I'm
not.
not a she, and I'm right here.
Well, I'm going in.
So this is the tickets to the exhibit, right? Like it's not the tickets to the actual airship.
That is correct.
Cajun's mostly just interested in getting to the ship. He appreciates the marvel of flying ships, but it's not really his thing.
Curiosity will
So,
kill this cat.
If we have to go through here to get to the airship, then he would give his ticket and just walk relatively in a straight line towards the ship.
So the fastest way is definitely through this building. Otherwise, you have to go around the building through all of this humanity.
Yeah, all right. I'll give her the ticket, give him the ticket, and keep going.
Enjoy your stay. Tickets, please. And he's kind of looking at Ulthane with his hand out.
Whole thing's just like when Critter brings it up and his brother, he just like he just has the ticket. He has officially ran out of witty things to say. He just has the ticket.
Enjoy your stay. Thank you. And as you guys walk into the building, you just hear behind you, tickets, please. What you should have done is you should have had him laugh. So you guys walk in, and this place just opens up. This is enormous. This is the inside of a super center. This place is huge, and all throughout, it seems like the inside of the building, they're only letting in a certain amount of people at a time before certain people leave. You know, there's definitely a maximum occupancy, and so it's rather spacious in here. It's not crowded or anything like that. But you see in the middle, there is this large two propeller mechanism that is in a statue, and standing in front of it is this Adonis of a man kind of standing there, and he's just in front of it, all part of the statue. And to the left, you see a lot of what would essentially be like paintings and tapestries set up with people standing in front of it, looking at a plaque that's in front of it, of all of these tapestries on the right side, all the way around the building itself. You see there is a little pocket, a group of people kind of all looking around and pointing and having a good time, and you are approached by a gnome woman, and she walks up and she says, "Hello, welcome to the museum. I will be your tour guide."
Great.
My name's Fote. You are here to see the Museum of Aviation. Please no flash photography. Follow me. And it's just the four of you with two little hangers on that were let in behind you. It's a orc man and a woman who are clearly not from around here, but they're just kind of taking in they're enjoying all the sights. And she takes you over first to the right side, where there is as you get closer to it, there's this tall painting, and on it there is just an image of what looks like an explosion in the bottom of it looks like there was a bluff, and then a flat area at the basin here, and then another bluff, and at the bottom of this bluff there is depicted in art an explosion. And she says, as you'll see, this here is Chazarek's Folly. This was the first flying machine. He came out alive. So don't worry about that, of course. The flying machine was, and she starts droning on about the flying machine was invented in blah, 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 blah. This was the first time that aerial blah, blah, blah was ever pursued. And just the tone of this voice is, she's very boring. To the point where you guys kind of snap to and realize that you're standing in the middle next to this big statue of this propellered mechanism with this Adonis in front of it. And she says, and this will conclude our tour. This is Chazarek himself. He flew the plane from the first picture, and also he was the first one to come up with the vertical takeoff. Are there any questions?
No.
Anyone ever tell you you have a soothing voice?
I hear it all the time. You guys can leave through the front doors. Please avoid the people. Be careful out there. Or if you would like to see the rest of beautiful Veridel, you can leave out the back. Thank you. Have a nice day. And she walks off, and she goes over and she meets another group of people standing at the front. And she says, hello, welcome to the Museum of Aviation. And goes back to her spiel. But now you guys are all standing in front of the statue.
Y'all
Well,
want to go and see,
Go ahead.
want to see some more of the places and see what else this place goes, or we want to get this the ship up in the air?
I'm okay with taking the tour again.
Cajun makes his way towards the avenue. Even if he has to leave his party behind, he reminds them that we have a job to do, and and heads that way.
Looking over at Cajun. Looking over at Ulthane. Looking up at this statue. Looking down at Gardain. I shrug. Might as well get on that ship, right?
There you go.
And I'll follow Cajun out the door.
But the tour is so informative on what we're going to be dealing with.
Purchase a book. Dwarves read, right?
We tend to try to, avoid it, but we can read. Well, most of us can.
Well, very good. So you guys pop out the back door, and you are actually, there's still a lot of people on this side of the building, but not near as many. The shops are a lot thinner back here. There is a guy right nearby saying, he's selling tunics that say, "I took off my top at the Aviation Museum." But in front of you sits the 3 airships. One of them is actually taking off as you speak.
Okay. That's why haven't they flown over the stockade before?
Might not be on their route.
Huh. Well, all right.
Oh, I'm looking for the Schlager's Pride.
Now that the ship on the far left has elevated and started to take off, it was the ship in the middle. But you can see there's a guy holding a sign that says Stockade. And he's just kind of looking around the crowd.
I'll wave at him and head over to him.
Oh, there's ship. Oh, yeah. And I'll pull the book out and I'll hand everybody their ticket. Here you go.
Oh my God, you guys are finally here. Oh, I've been standing here for 2 days. I'm so glad. And he puts the thing underneath his arm and he turns around and hops down. It's another gnome man. And he says, right this way. We were hoping you'd be here. All your stuff's already loaded up and it's in your cabins. If you guys just want to follow me, it shouldn't be, did they tell you about how long this is going to take?
No.
Well, I won't ruin the surprise. I'll let the commander tell you all about it. Also, and he kind of sticks his hand out and he says, Crumb.
Switch the balls from one hand to the other. Critter.
Crumb, critter, crumb, critter. Great.
Gardane, Ulthane, Cajun.
Critter, Cajun, Gardane, Ulthane, critter, crumb, critter. Great. And he turns around and you can see him quickly trying to get to the airship. And there's this wooden dock that actually, so it looks like, now that you're up on it, this looks like a big ship that you would see in water, or what you assume a ship in water would look like. Some of you may have never seen one, but it looks like a big, broad-decked boat with large masts and things like that. But peculiarly, oddly,
Yes.
there are no masts. Instead, tied to 6 different points, there is this rope that leads up to this large blimp over the top. If you have ever played World of Warcraft, you are familiar with the Horde Zeppelins. It looks very much like this. But you kind of have to take this little ramp to get up onto the boat because it is already floating off of the ground.
Well,
As you get to the deck, Crumb turns around and he says, all right, I understand you guys already have your tickets. Let's just get through this. Can I get your tickets, please?
Gardane?
Yes. Oh, wait. Yes.
You have the tickets, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Here, all of them.
Great. Yeah, and he takes all 4 of them and he looks at them. He's like, perfect. Kind of shoves them into his pocket. He says, we are sort of a luxury liner, you might say. So there are some other guests on the ship with you. They are making the same trip. We're going from here in Veradil to Neighbors Landing to the south. This is going to take. We should arrive late tomorrow evening. But if you guys all wanted to get on, that would be perfect. And you are the last ones we were waiting for, so everybody will be excited because we are ready to embark.
Okay, and I'll pull one of our flyers. Here, hand this to your person of importance that you know.
And he looks at it and he's like, "Perfect, yes." And he folds it up and he actually sticks it under his arm, and you can see he is holding it. He says, "I'll keep this." But yeah, he ushers everybody on, and there's a little gangway that you walk through. It eventually takes you by all of the cabins and dormitories and things like that are one deck down on this 3-deck boat. In the middle, the bottom you would assume is storage, if the middle deck is for cabins and the top deck is for enjoyment. But anyway, so you guys all get to your rooms. At this point, it took you maybe an hour and a half inside the exhibit, but you are now on the boat, and you actually feel, as you guys are kind of checking through your stuff, making sure it's all there, which it is, you feel the ship kind of start to shake a little bit.
Okay.
Gardain, you have an extreme sense of excitement because you assume this is the feeling of this airship about to take off.
Oh yeah, I'm going to actually go up top.
Excellent.
I want to see it take off.
Perfect. So you get up top, and anybody else who might join him. You actually are up on the deck, and you're kind of sitting there, and there are people scattered throughout. The people enjoying the exhibit, the tourists who are kind of waving, and you guys are waving back, and the ship lifts up into the air as whatever the weights were that were holding it down are basically cut, and it floats up maybe 100 feet. And then that shaking intensifies real big, and Gardain, because you're most interested, the back of this ship where the rudder would be just falls to the ground, and behind it you see these large almost propulsion jets, and it just shoots off, and you guys begin to pick up a little bit of speed. It's not breakneck by any means, but you guys are now on the airship flying from Varadil to Neighbors Landing. All right, so once you guys have been in the air for a little bit, go ahead.
I was going to say, and what a great white ride it was.
And nothing happened, and we made it.
No. Where Gardain is having a wonderful time on top deck. Little thing never leaves his cabin. Like, he wants the counter that has no windows, no nothing. He wants to see absolutely nothing. Blindness at this moment. Matter of fact, he's praying for a coma.
So across this top deck, there's actually a man who's got a well-trimmed beard and a big tri-billed hat, and he's kind of walking around, and there's maybe 15 guests and about 30 crew members, and the crew members are doing their thing, making sure that everything, tightening down the hatches and making sure that everything's a go. But the man in the hat is coming up, and he's shaking hands, and he's making small talk, and he approaches your group, and he says, "Well, hello. I'm Commander Sliga. Welcome to my pride."
Where can I get a hat like that?
It's a good thing you asked. I know that they sell a lot of knockoffs down at the stores back in Veridale, but we do have a shop where you might be able to come up and find a hat just like this. And he kind of points to the other end of the deck, and you can see there's actually a little group of people kind of standing around. And he says, "So you guys you're from the stockade, I heard. Is that correct?"
Yes.
Excellent. Very good. Well, we obviously appreciate your patronage. The ship should only take a little over a day. We could get you there a little faster, but some of the other people did pay for this to be more of a luxury trip. So there's really only one part where we'll ask that everybody go into their cabins, where we will try and race across a certain area, just because it's best. It's a sort of a boring spot where we can make up a lot of time. But be careful at the deck, because in this situation, a man overboard is a man dead. Be careful. And he walks away.
Huh.
And so, go ahead.
No, his response is really just, huh.
So yeah, you guys spend a little bit of time on this deck here if you want to, just kind of seeing the land. And from up here, it is very beautiful. You actually, off in the distance, can see what Cajun is likely horizon. It's off to the west just a bit from where you are. There are also in the distance, you start to see some of the forest start to get a little bit thicker and thicker, and some of the forests actually seem to slope downward, where you assume there is some sort of basin, and it dawns on you. You guys are probably getting pretty close to Kazarak's Folly, where he wrecked his ship at the bottom of a basin. And there are, other guests and things like that, really keeping to themselves and not really interacting with other parties or other groups or anything like that. But yeah. So the dinner bell eventually rings. And because this is an overnight flight, you guys will be afforded 3 meals: dinner, breakfast, and lunch. And first up is dinner. The deck is actually cleared out in the middle, and the 30 staff members bring out a bunch of tables and things like that, and chairs, so that everybody can eat. Is anybody going to get Ulthane?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I'm bringing
I'll go
him
with
the
Corday.
door.
Ulthane, are you going to come eat?
When he gets to the door and he goes, "Are you going to come in?" He goes, "No," and he slams the door. He stays in.
Yeah.
But-
Well, I'm going to do this right here. I'm going to give you to the count of 3, and then I'm taking the hinges off.
As soon as you start to count, you see a guy toting a big keg past you, and he goes up. He starts taking the stairs up to the main deck, and then another one walks by, and then another one.
Ulthane, come out of there. You have to eat.
You have to drink too.
Yeah, alcohol.
A big keg just walked itself by up the stairs.
He peeks out the door and he goes, "Oh, rum. Oh, okay, fine.
So you guys are all
bottom is below.
You all find your seats, and dinner is wonderful. There are two options. There is duck or pork are the two options, along with a little soup, salad, and a vegetarian option as well. If anybody is not interested in meat, they do offer that. And then, of course, it's prepaid ticket, all inclusive. So feel free to drink to your heart's desire. And of course, the captain is walking around again saying, I hope you're having a great time. I hope you are. It's very safe up here. It's very good. Later tonight, there should be some more festivities. It'll be a wonderful time. Please, again, be careful. And then walk to the next table and pretty much, copy and paste. It's about this time that one of the other cruisers are kind of standing over by the edge, and they look down. And she turns around and she says, Captain, this is beautiful. And he kind of snaps to, and he's like, it's Commander, the hat. It's Commander. Yes, it is very beautiful. Be very careful. And Critter, it's what is it that is so beautiful? It gets you to actually get up out of your seat and maybe walk closer to it and take a look off the side, and you realize that you are flying over the top of a heavily wooded forest. You cannot see down through the canopy. And the trees themselves are actually grown so high. You remember how high you were when you took off. These trees are maybe only a few feet under the bottom of your airship. But it is beautiful.
Yeah, that we must have gone higher, or these trees have grown much taller. Well, maybe it wouldn't be instant death if somebody went overboard now. And I look over at the woman, and excuse me, the woman beside me, and I just kind of say that off the cuff.
And she kind of pushes herself further away from the edge and kind of looks at you out of the corner of her eye, and then she turns back, and you can see she's looking at a guy who's actually seated fairly close to where she is, and he's like half got a fork in his mouth, and he just puts it down and takes a napkin and stands up and goes and like grabs her and puts her in the chair, sits down, and they're both now just looking at you.
I was just saying. Fine.
Crumb walks over to you and kind of puts his hand on your hip and says, well, instant death. You guys from the stockade, you guys really should have taken a red eye, the quickest flight. So I'll tell you a little secret. It would still be instant death if you fell, because all the snicks down there, they're scavengers. They'll come after you and anything that falls off these boats, and sometimes the stuff on these boats.
Huh. All right. What woods are these?
So to be they're just the Everlasts.
The Everlasts. Never heard of doing a job there. And I'll walk back over to the table where I was sitting and go back to eating my pork.
If nobody else has anything, there's a little bit more up until. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. When he sits back down, like old thing, like he's been paying, like he's been almost dead set, like just like looking around, expecting anything to happen at the moment. But when Critter comes back, he looks at me and goes, "How are you feeling? Your powers, I believe, is what you call them, or your abilities. Have you feel them returned yet?"
Well, let me try. And I look him right in the eyes. Did it work?
When he looks him in the eye, he looks him right back in the eye like, I don't know what you're trying to do.
I was trying to reach out to you telepathically.
Well, come on, little thing. Let's go look over the side.
No.
I bet you a cup of Bugman's best that you can't go and look over and come back.
And he does exactly this. He snaps his fingers, points at him, and goes, "You're right."
Cation, make a perception check.
Okay. To do perception of 16.
So you have your weird spider sense that you have, your sixth sense tingles a little bit. The flora seems to be almost from far behind you, far below you. There is some, really the only way you can translate it is you feel distress and then nothing. But then as the ship continues to move forward, you get that same feeling again, about the same place, far behind you, far below you, distress. And then almost like the closest thing you can equate it to is whatever it is that is causing this distress is happening down and behind. So maybe you're getting the sense of being followed.
So, Casion's been enjoying himself. He watched, the takeoff from above board. He's taking advantage of the fact that he's never done anything of this before. He's enjoying it. He thinks that it's a mechanical marvel, even if he's not terribly interested in mechanical marvels. And when he gets to the forest and sees the beauty of the forest, he's in wonder, and then he feels this feeling, this distressful feeling, and I mean, the whole time he's had a smile on his face. He's been comfortable as he can be on a flying ship that he's never been on before, but relatively comfortable. You know, smooth lines on his face. And all of a sudden, as he's feeling this, his whole face just contorts. You know, creases everywhere. He keeps on looking behind. You know, the area where we've come from, looking behind, going across to the other side of the ship, looking behind. And just seems very distracted all of a sudden, completely not enjoying the trip nearly as much. So the others that are with him certainly can tell. And he's muttering to himself.
What's going on, Cajun? Is the food not good?
He looks right at you and says, I have this gut feeling. I feel distress from there, and points behind and down. Somewhere there. Feels like it's in the same spot though when we keep on moving, like it's following us.
Should I go arm myself?
Maybe. I might speak to the captain. Maybe he's flown this route before and knows something of the same. And so Cajun would make his way. Is the captain in his quarters, or is he like flying the ship, or what's the process like? Is he at the wheel the whole time, or?
So no, and you actually find this out. He is on the top deck, and Crumb is actually the one who's flying the ship.
Right. Well, I would approach the captain and I would say, or approach the commander and I would say, Commander Slagner, I have long had a sense of the land, a sense of beasts and plants alike. And as we cross over this forest, I have this distressed feeling. It's coming from over there, but it seems to keep pace with the ship.
And he immediately, he wasn't looking at you before, he was just listening, but as soon as you say that, he kind of turns to you and is definitely paying more attention to you now.
Maybe you felt or seen something before. Maybe it's those snicks, those scavengers. Something is not right, it says.
You say it's keeping pace with us. Well, that would be a first. Well, and he kind of reaches and talks into his cuff, and he's not quiet about it. He's aware that you are one of the Heroes Guild, but he kind of says it into his cuff. He's like, "Minute full alert. We may have something. May have some issue coming up." And he says, "I would never ask a passenger to do anything like this, but it seems as though you and maybe your friends are maybe willing. So full transparency, the Snicks are these ravenous, very primal dwellers. They exist in the Everlasts, and they have been known as fairly dangerous sometimes. It does not occur all the time, and so it may not occur this time, but they have been known to attack certain ships as they fly, just trying to make their way, I suppose. And so for that, maybe you can't fault them. But this being a pleasure cruise, all I have are my men. If there's any way that you feel that you might be able to help should something occur, because it may not, we would greatly appreciate any help.
I, having left this conversation already, I will gone below deck, grab my blade, grab my Eyes of the Eagle, and a small vial. And when I'm coming back up, I will have this blade in my hand, not strapped to my back anymore. I have the goggles hanging around my neck, and you see me shoving this vial into my pocket.
And I would ask him to put the eyes on, and what I would do is I would put my arm up so that he can just see the top of my arm, and I would direct my arm to where I feel like this feeling is coming from and direct his gaze to it, just so that he can sort of see off in that direction.
Okay. Make that roll?
Yep. Perception check with advantage.
Oh, that's terrible. That is only going to be a 12. A 4 and 8.
So the only things that you make out are the occasional cluster of birds sort of come out of the trees. Of note, though, it is always above wherever he is pointing at that time. And it's not like a line of birds are coming up or anything like that. It's just every once in a while there's birds that kind of fly up in the air.
All right. Seeing that he's saying that he can't really see anything, say maybe it's under the cover of those trees, and one of the birds would, fly close to the ship, and I would make a tweeting sound, call to it, and I'm going to cast Animal Messenger.
Okay. What does that do?
Basically, I can give it a message. That's and it will fly to where I say and then come back. Instead, I'm wondering if I can use it to just get it to sort of say what it can see there. Let me actually have a look at the spell and see if I can actually do that. All right, animal. Actually, animal friendship. It is. I got that wrong. Let's me convince beast that I mean it no harm. Must you say it's charmed. I must make a. Sorry. So. Yeah, must make a wisdom saving throw or be charmed. So you can make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. These are not particularly bright birds, and they got an 11.
Okay, yeah, so I can charm it. So basically what I want it to do is fly under the cover of the canopy, see what it can see, and report back like danger, like just simple words like food, whatever it can see in the area that I sense that this disturbance is coming from, and send it off to do that.
So I assume this spell works similarly to Charm Person.
Yeah. It just says it's charmed.
Gotcha. So the effect of charmed, I don't think they can or they even under the effects of charm can put themselves in danger's path, correct?
That's correct.
So it flies in front of you, and even though it is charmed, it's not going to fly down. But you hear a word in your head, and the word is Iwachu.
Okay.
Which that doesn't really make any sense to you, but danger is the feeling you get.
So I say the word aloud to the captain, to the commander, Iwachu. Say, I explained to him what I'm trying to do, and that the bird won't fly down there, which means that there's danger. And this word came to my head. I say, I don't know what it means, and I don't know if you know what it means, but I want to report it to you.
And he kind of thinks, and he's like, Iwachu. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not sure what that means. But you said it's following?
That's what I feel.
And you can see him. He takes his hat off and he pulls his hair back, and he kind of sets his hat back on his head, and he sits there for a minute in ponderous thought. And he's like, man, they've never been fast enough to follow us. This could be bad. Kid, I'm going to ask you a favor. Can you, if you would, can you please tell your friends from the guild to be prepared? If this is the Snicks, this is going to be very dangerous. They're dangerous as is, but they've never been able to keep pace with us, especially not in the woods below. The Everlasts are extremely dense. I've never heard of anybody being able to fly something so quickly through there.
Of course, we will be on watch, and I'll take my leave of him and talk to the others as soon as I can. Let them know what I felt. Let them know that the bird wouldn't go, even though that's part of the things that I can do. It wouldn't go, and there's clearly danger. And say that we should suit up, and be ready for whatever might come. Maybe nothing will come, but maybe something will. And I would sort of ask around I don't want to spread panic, so yeah, I wouldn't talk to the passengers. Perhaps I would just talk to my friends.
Up on the top deck, you're actually seeing fewer of the staff members. Up top, you see where, at any one time you were used to seeing 30. Right now, you see maybe 10. And coming up from the other end of the ship, you see 10 come out, but they are now dressed in leather armor, and some of them have crossbows. Most of them have some sort of sword or dagger or blade on their hip, and the 10 that were up top go down while these 10 are standing here, and then 10 more come up, and same thing, leathers, blades, crossbows, and then finally the last 10. So now you can see all 30 are on deck, and the only other time you've seen all 30 on deck at the same time was when they were doing things to put the tables out, or when there is work to be done. But now they're all kind of standing on deck, and they're all standing by the outer rails of the airship.
Oh, I'm gonna go get my stuff on.
But do we have time to gear up in armor, or would we need to just? Gosh, I would just stay up there.
I was going to say you really don't know how much time you have.
I'm not armored up. I've still got my vial and my goggles hanging back down around my neck, and and my sword.
Ulthane?
Unless I'm sleeping, I live in my armor.
Very good. All right. So, just to be fair here, Critter, you stand there for a minute and you realize you may have time if you want to, because it doesn't take you an extremely long amount of time to get dressed, I don't think, but it's your call.
5 minutes to don leather.
Oh, I'll be ready I'll be ready tomorrow.
It is almost midnight. But that's your call. So the other two come up on deck, and the captain is kind of patrolling around the outside and talking to his men, and they're pointing. And all of a sudden, everybody make a dexterity check, or a dexterity save. So, Ulthane, Cajun, Critter, the ship jerks hard to the side, and you guys are able to put a hand down or plant a foot or stick your staff down to right yourself. Gardane, you fall over and kind of begin rolling. And the ship is not completely sideways, but it's definitely angled, and you are rolling towards the side. And then the ship rights itself. And you have definitely rolled probably uncomfortably close, even for a man who loves, or a dwarf who loves airships, a little too close to the edge. And so as you kind of get to your feet, you see at the front of the boat itself, which is, I don't know, maybe 75 feet away, you see this group of these humanoid figures who have on these straps around their arms, kind of all fly over the deck, and half of them land on the deck, and the other half split off and are flying and are kind of gliding around the outside of the boat. Roll initiative. Waiting on Critter. All right. So on the deck that landed maybe about 50 feet away from you on the deck, there are 5 humanoid, but they look very human. A little different though. Somewhere, if you know what a mole is, thick brows, sort of Neanderthal-y, but still very obviously human. They land on the front and they immediately pull off these straps on their arms, and all of their flying mechanisms drop off. And each one of them draws out a sword, but there's 5 of them. Along each side, there are still 5 on either side that are still have on these flying mechanisms. Ulthane, it's your turn.
Well, considering I know Critter probably has a higher dexterity than me, unless that's with his dexterity. I was going to say, I think, because me and Critter kind of died.
Very good.
Critter,
yes.
go ahead of me. Because, I mean, a higher dexterity and would probably more be jumping to action than Ulthane is.
Okay. Oh, this is going to be bad. All right. Seeing this happen, I draw that vial out of my pocket, uncork that sucker with my thumb, down it. I'm going to run up to the closest one and swing.
Is taking a potion an action?
I believe it's an interaction.
All right.
I honestly...
I have always been of the feeling that if you have 6 seconds to do something, drinking a potion can be done quickly. So I am fine with that being your bonus.
Okay. I'm down with that.
Okay.
Move up to the one that's closest, and I'm going to swing at it.
Okay, so the one that is closest is 50 feet away.
On this boat?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Okay. Just making sure you can get there. All right, so it's the middle one out of the 5 that are in front of you.
Actually, no, I can't.
Okay.
So I'm going to step forward 20 feet, and I'm going to ready an action to attack the first hostile creature that comes within reach.
Okay. All right, so Ulthane.
Is Gardane still sliding towards the edge of the boat, or is he good?
He's good.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, after seeing that his brother's okay, and he sees that Critter is pretty much taking the defensive thing, with her and hammer and shield in hand, I'm on a move, pretty much double move. Try to put myself amongst them as quickly as possible.
All right. So there's 5 of them on the deck, and they are in a line. Are you up next to the one in the middle? Which one specifically are you next to?
I'm gonna have to use. I'm gonna have to pretty much double move to get up there. So,
okay.
Wherever the first one I come to, because I don't want to move through, just ignoring an enemy, because
Sure.
Enemy. So
So you're gonna be
just the first enemy.
If left to right, they are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. You are right in front of 4, and 4 has on one of those masks from town with those horns that peel back, and it's painted. In fact, now that you're right up on them, they all have on those masks, and they're all painting in wildly different ways. And so this one has a green and a white face. But yeah, you are right up next to him.
I know, I can't do anything pretty much, But you know, the one thing that really dawns on me is like the show. He said a luxury cruise. Usually, like, I mean, it's only a thought. I mean, like, if they attack me, then you know that pretty much throws that off into the thing, because I think that is the mask thing. Like, how does do these guys react to like somebody that's not crew running up on them, like, you know, like full intent of like wrecking their face with a hammer?
You don't know yet. You're actually
Okay.
going before.
That's cool. That's cool. But I do tell people, I do shout out. This is the last thing I'm gonna say. Shout out that this might be a show. Cautious, because that's what I'm thinking.
Very good. First, the Snicks on the left. They are all kind of flying in place. The airship is definitely flying faster than they are. But it would be like if someone's going 50 miles an hour and you're going 45. They're not passing you in blazing speed, but they are passing you. But they all, each of them kind of rears back and just starts shooting these projectiles out of their hands, these fluorescent kind of pastel colors. There's a light green, a blue, pinks, purples, stuff like that. And they're all kind of doing a light show on the side. And they're aiming at the guards. Ooh. Of course I'm aiming at the guards. This is ridiculous. And so there are 10 guards, and then 10 guards at the front as well. And 7 of the guards, after this initial blast, drop. On the right side, the same thing begins. And these blasts miss the guards as they're sitting there volleying, and the lights crash into the boat or the airship itself. And it's causing dents and splinters and breaking off pieces of it to the point where the rail on the right side of the boat is now much more splintered. It's not as protective. And there's in some places there is no rail. But the guards are all okay. And then the Snicks in front of you, one of them is going to take a swing at you, little thing, because you ran up. Another one is as well. So the first one pulls a dagger and he goes out and he tries to stab at you. And your thoughts of this being a show quickly evaporate as you realize that's a real dagger. And as you're realizing that, the other one stabs you. And you take 4 damage. The one in the middle charges past you. You can take an opportunity attack if you like.
There's going to be a grand total of 18.
18 hits.
So, a whopping, 11 damage, and his movement is dropped to 0. Thank you, Sentinel.
Nice.
So, no.
All right, the one, number 2, which this one is wearing a blue and green mask, runs, continues to charge down the line, and this one actually gets right up on you, Critter.
Awesome. Anyway. Does a 16 hit it?
16 does hit.
Okay. Yeah. 6, 7, 8, 13 points of slashing damage.
Nice. And then the one all the way to the left, number 1 with the yellow mask on, runs over to one of the remaining guards that is on the left side of the boat, one of the 3 that are left, and makes a swing there. And he hits with, again, his dagger. He reaches in and gets him. And he stabs the guy right in the side as he's kind of turned and looking at his fallen comrades. He gets stabbed from behind. Cajun.
Alright. Cajun, his whole face, his whole form just starts to ripple and change. And his face elongates, his teeth get longer, and he starts to use the bonus action shift. And today, this looks, his whole head takes on the form of a wolf, but it's not an actual change. It's just his head just elongates and makes it look like a wolf. His hair sort of takes on that shaggy wolf texture. And as I do, my hands splay out beside me, and I howl up into the sky. And as I howl, 2 wolves appear, one on each side of me. And they both raise their heads and howl. Technically, how this works is they get their own initiative, but what I'm wondering is if it's okay if they just act on my turn and from the next turn onwards, just to make it easier.
Yeah, I think from the time that they're summoned, they would just go after you in initiative.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Sorry for the ice cream truck out there if you're hearing that. So yeah, they've just appeared. So do you want them to act now or next turn?
Yeah, they can act now. I'm fine with that.
Okay, they leap out from under my hands and attack the nearest creatures. They'll both attack a single. Just wondering. No, I want intimidation, so they'll both attack different creatures, so they won't get pack tactics.
So for pack tactics, what is required?
Just an ally in melee, basically.
Okay, so one of the closest one is the one that's on critter.
All right, I'll attack that with pack tactics. Then. Just with one of the wolves.
Okay.
Conjure animals, direwolf. So I've got a +5, 22 to hit.
That does hit, believe it or not.
I believe it. Let's see. For 7 points of piercing damage, and he needs to make a strength save.
He critically fails.
He is knocked prone and under the wolf's paw. Is there another one of my allies that's being attacked? Ulthane, perhaps?
Ulthane is 50 feet ahead, but yes. There are 3 of them on Ulthane.
Okay, Direwolf can actually move up to them. They've got 50 feet of movement.
Great.
I'll do that. So the second Direwolf is on one of the ones with Ulthane. Attacks with 14 to hit.
A 14 misses.
14 misses. Excellent. That is my turn.
Very good. So Cajun, that second wolf ran up to number 3. He has an all black mask. He was the one in the middle.
Okay.
Just for the sake of keeping things in track. Gardane.
Oh, I'm still trying to get get the blasted armor. I had it over my head and I'm rolling around. So I'm going to continue trying to pull it down.
Gotcha. I can say you can finish getting dressed as a bonus action.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm going to move. I'm going to try out my new brand. See how this goes. Do I need to actually? Does it work like the spell, or is it set? Or is it predetermined?
So it is a free cast. It does not take a slot.
Okay. Then I'm going. His brand starts to glow, and I'll touch it to the ground, and it'll leave the burnt mark in the wood, and then it starts to grow outwards, and I'll get everybody. I'll spend the slot to get Ulfang, Critter, Cajun, and me.
What's the range on Bless?
I think they have to be. Yeah, I don't think
I believe
they have
it's
to be within a certain.
Cool.
Then, okay. If I can't get him, then
Now, if you could definitely position yourself to where you could get everybody if you wanted to.
That's
Okay.
what I'm going to do.
Okay.
It's
Cool.
30 feet.
Yeah, and it's all you have to do is pretty much walk up in line with this recently formed dire wolf, and everybody would be within range.
Okay.
So yeah, great. So you don't have to spend a slot for it. That's awesome. Perfect. What else? Anything else?
Nope, that's it. I think that takes a whole turn to do. Yep. So I'm done.
All right. So the guards return fire. They all, the 3 or 2 of them on the left side fire out at a couple of these snicks, and the bolts just shoot off into the Everlast. The one who got stabbed makes a little return fire with a stab, and he is pissed. Apparently, he just pulls the dagger out of his other hip and then thrusts it behind him to get this guy, and he stabs it into this guy, and it just sinks right in. Guy looks up at him and drops down to his knees, falls over. The 10 that are at the front of the boat, or the front of the ship, turn around to take a shot at the ones that you guys are dealing with. And they get the one in the pink mask, number 5, and number 4, the green and the white. And they hit them. Both of them sink arrows into the back, and you can see their head kind of turn as the attention diverts a little bit. The guards on the right side fire arrows. And the arrows all fly off the side of the boat, which brings us all the way around to Critter. Actually, the last thing that happens is some of them fire these shots off, and then 5 from the right and 5 from the front of the boat of the guards begin rushing to the stairwells where the other passengers, most of them have made it. There is, however, a mother and daughter passenger who are definitely stuck between a rock and a hard place as the Snicks on the left side of the airship have kind of cornered this mother and daughter who have their backs up against essentially part of the cabin, but the stairwell is far to the right, and they're just kind of frozen there, not moving. Critter,
So-
for real though, it's your turn.
Okay, so overall, how many of them are left? Like 15?
Guards or Snicks?
Snicks.
There are 14 of them left. 5 on the left, 5 on the right, and 4 in front.
All right, is that one still on me?
He is currently under the foot of a direwolf, but yes.
I don't remember. Does that mean he'll have the attack of opportunity if I run away?
This specific one, I mean, he would
Okay.
technically have the opportunity to do that.
But he's prone, right?
He is prone. He's got a lot of stuff going on. So mechanically, yes, that is an opportunity, but it's hard to think that someone covered by a dog would still try and stab out at someone else trying to get away. But whatever you want to do.
I'll take it. I'm gonna run over to where the mother and daughter are.
Okay. Yeah, I cannot see a situation where this guy, because it was a natural one, I'm going to say he was disarmed.
Okay.
So he flails and tries to grab at your foot in a half-hearted effort, but also is trying to protect his face from getting bitten.
All right.
All right.
I go running with my giant sword, screaming, "Ah!" And I even stop, fall to a knee, and push myself back up, running to it, and swing. That's I'm trying to do this. 24 to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My new numbers are messing with stuff. That is 16 slashing damage to one of them.
Nice. Very good. Yeah. Only one of them is actually flown to where he's now on the boat. The other one seems to be trying to position himself, but these are not super efficient flying units that they have. But yes, nice shot. Anything else you'd like to do?
I'll shout out, "Don't let them below deck! Somebody help me with these two! They're coming after us!" And then still, this giant sword, I am holding it with, as if it were a stick. It is upright.
Ulthane, it is your turn.
Hearing, somewhat hearing Critter, and when he kind of glances back, seeing him point at the below deck thing. Ways are there below deck, or is it like a normal ship and there's only one way below deck?
So there's two ways below deck. One of them has, actually both ways have 5 guards going to help the other cruisers get below deck. And other than the woman and child, everybody else is behind a row of guards.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. So Ulthane's seeing that the actual ship guards, doing that, he's going to not ignore what Critter said, but he's going to, because they're guards there for a reason. Still surrounded by 4 guys, or is it 3?
You are currently, let's see, you have 3 guys that are on you. You have one. Essentially, if straight ahead is north, you have one to the north, one to the east, and one to the west. And the one to the west has a dire wolf next to it.
Okay. So I'm going to shift myself a little bit that I'm closer to the dire wolf in case he tries to take a stab, because I mean, granted, it's a summoned animal, it's still an ally. The shield still protects its friends. So he is going to take a shot at one of the other two guys, and 25 and 26.
Both of those do hit.
Okay, so it's all together, see, plus 10, 13, 19. How you do crits? Because it's only one hit.
So it's max damage plus the roll of the dice plus your modifier.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Ulthane, how close is Ulthane to me?
He is on the other end of the boat.
How far is that in feet?
I would. No, it's not within 60.
Yeah.
Okay.
But don't forget, everybody has bless as well. I know we.
Yeah. I smack him in the face for 27 points of damage.
Great.
Yeah.
Which?
The one of the guys that
green and white. There's green and white, pink and black. You hit the black one.
Whichever one
to run by you.
Yeah, him. Screw it. I'll hit him.
Okay.
Me?
Yeah, as soon as you hit him between last time and this time, you definitely go right through him. So what give me an idea what that looks like.
Well, considering he tried to run past me the first time, I guess being surprised being hit with a hammer the first time, he kind of, it kind of stops him in his trail, because he kind of kneecaps him a little bit. Because I imagine being stopped in your movement, that kneecap or some way of stopping you. So once he's trying to get his bearing and still limping, Ulthane, I see it as Ulthane just taking advantage of his movement hindrance, and he rains on him like the Holy Ghost with a hammer.
Nice. So as you kind of come swinging down and hit over the top of him, your shield is facing back towards the rest of your party, and in your hand you feel it shake a little bit. And the rest of the party, you see a brief blink of light on the shield itself. And in the wide open area on the shield, in the top left corner, you actually see an engraving occur on the shield itself. And it looks like, as it's very quickly magically being engraved onto this thing, it looks like one of these things. And it's kind of it's in this attack position. It's got these flying apparatus over its shoulders, what it looked like when it first showed up. And it's standing there with a snarl on its face, and it even has on one of these masks. Anytime that you fight one of these, you get a +1 to AC.
Nice. And how far back my allies are, but Ulthane's going to actually start slowly moving his way back, kind of almost looking like he's retreating, but what he's actually doing is he's actually pulling them closer. So if they get stupid enough to think, oh, well, we'll just, he's cowering away, we're going to go after somebody else, I'm going to, I'll show them the reason why I'm a shield, not a hammer. But anyway, yes, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to back 30 feet, 25 feet, because dwarves don't have 30. We have 25. I back 25 feet backwards.
So there is one other that is close enough to you that is still up. This will draw an attack of opportunity.
That's fine.
Okay. Let's see. So I got an 18, which is your AC right now. Is that correct?
Unless it goes up by one because it's one of those guys.
It does. Very good. So it's as you're kind of turning to run, you see this guy actually turn and try and make a stab at you, and in that moment, the shield on your arm creates almost again. You now see it. It flashes very brightly over the outline of the etching on your shield of this snikt that's on there, and as it does that, this snikt just kind of freezes in place, and for a second, kind of comes back to, and he misses you, and so then you move 25 feet away. All right, so the snikts on the right side of the boat who have no
Are they
reason.
within 60 of me?
Yes.
They find that they have advantage on their melee weapon attacks.
They have advantage?
Yep.
On melee weapon? Yeah. They are doing the blasty business.
Okay.
So they are super excited about that. And this time, let's see, so 84. 2 of the guards drop. Two of the remaining 5 drop. The ones at the front, one of them takes a shot. He actually runs over number 2. He's on the ground. Never mind. So now the one with the green and the white mask, number 4, is actually he's sitting there kind of looking at his dagger, wondering what happened, and he looks up and he sees Ulthane had backed off, and he's going to run up on Ulthane and make a shot.
If he gets within 60, he finds that he has advantage on melee weapon attacks.
All right. Yeah, this time he does get you, Ulthane, for a whole 5 damage. And then the last one in the pink mask goes up to one of the 3 remaining guards on the right side of the boat and completely whiffs, throws his dagger off the side, and kind of looks out at his flying buddies and shrugs his shoulders like, meh, what you gonna do? Let's see, so 1, 2. 2 of the guys who are still flying off the side shoot back into the boat. Wow. And they take out the other 3 guards on the left side. So now there are still 5 flying in on the left side. 2 of them have come up on the boat where you are, Critter. 3 of them are still flying. Yes, there are no guards there. At the front, there is 1, 2 down. So there are 3 in the middle. 1 is under the foot of a direwolf. Another one is run up on Ulthane. And then the one in the pink mask goes over to the direwolf. Does a 16 hit that?
Yes, sir.
All right. And then with his short sword, he does 3 damage.
Okay. Mask. 3 damage. Okay.
Then the one that is on Critter, who just took a mighty blow, is going to essentially kind of use his feet and push off of you, Critter, taking the disengage action, and he flies back to the outskirts of the boat. As this happened, another one the other one comes in behind, and he is going to try and hit you with his dagger.
I'll have advantage.
What is your AC currently?
13.
All right. So he hits you with his dagger for 4 damage. Cajun, it is your turn.
No worries. With Cajun's movement, he will slam his staff down onto the deck of the boat, and the wood will start to rise to meet each other. So the wood of his staff and the wood of the deck, and the wood of the deck becomes like a wolf. It's a very small wolf, but like tiny, and it sort of circles up the staff. I'm casting Shillelagh on the staff. I'm going to move up to the woman and children and child, and take a Shillelagh attack.
And since you're up there with them like I am, it turns out you have advantage on melee weapon attacks.
All right. Well, that's a crit.
If you roll another crit, I'll let you kill this thing.
As in the second. No, it was a 14 and a 20. Sorry.
All right. No insta-jib, but that is a critical hit.
13. So 16 points.
Nice.
And then my wolf with the purring guy makes his attack. That'll hit for 11 points.
So are these spectral or?
They're technically Fae that have taken the form of wolves.
Okay. So how does this wolf end this snicked?
Its paw is on it, keeping it down, and the teeth just come down and maul the guy's throat out.
Nice.
The other wolf, with the guy against the pink mask, it's 22 to hit, so I'm guessing that hits.
It does.
For 11 points, 12 points. My apologies, 12 points of piercing damage.
Nice.
And that one, the pink mask needs to make a strength save.
Oh my god. So I critically failed the first one. I thought you were going to hit the second attack. And so I rolled for a save before you told me whether you hit or not, and it was a 1. And this one is a third one in a row, so he critically fails as well.
Yeah, he is underneath the paw of the second wolf, and that is my turn.
Nice. Gardain, it is your turn, friend. Behind you, about 20 feet, is Cajun critter, the woman, child. There is 3 snicks still flying off to the left, including one that just left the woman and child. In front of you, there are only 2 more of these masked snicks that had landed. And then to the right, there are 5 who have kind of been having their way. There are no guards on the left. There are 5 guards on the front, and there are 3 guards on the right.
These ones that are flying around, how far away are they from me?
So the closest ones are maybe 20 feet, and they are flying off the boat. Like where they're flying, they are not above the boat.
Then I will point my ring at them and shoot my Everfall on them.
Nice. So it's been a while since I made that ring. I need to make a what kind of save?
Yep, I'm having to scroll way back up to DC. 13 Constitution saving throw.
All right.
They
So that,
failed their-
and if I believe I
their fall.
recall, if they are not securely on something, they have disadvantage, correct?
Enemies that are floating. Yep, they have. Yep, they have disadvantage.
This one plummets into the Everlast. Just something just seems to be a heavy weight, just pulls him and he just drops.
It works. I don't know exactly what type of action that was.
I believe it's your action.
Okay, then I've got the flying ones covered, guys.
Anything else you want to do, Gardain?
Maybe move a little closer to the. Move about 15 feet to the rail, so I could try to keep all the ones that are flying within range.
Okay. So the guards behind the ones up front, the 5 guards, approach those guys.
If they're within 60 feet, they find that they have advantage on melee weapon attack.
They are not within 60 feet, and only one of them hits, and he hits the pink for 2 damage. One of the guards pokes his head out of the northernmost stairwell with his crossbow, and he takes a shot at one of the flying ones on the right side of the boat. Hey, he hits. All right. He does 4. All right, so that brings us around to the guards on the right side, which are going to take shots, and they hit this time. 4. Great. Let's see. There's more guards than that. All right, so finally, we have made it all the way around to Critter.
Is there one on me anymore?
There is.
Well, I'm going to keep swinging at him.
Okay.
That's a natural 20.
All right. I believe you know how crits work.
And I rolled max on the die. 30 points of damage.
Yeah. How do you kill this one?
This odd just bloodlust is starting to come over everybody within 60 feet of me, including myself, and it is all about trying to get as much blood. And you watch me, in all honesty, with this giant, nasty, curved blade, I go blinking on the wooden post with this thick, giant weapon all over the place until there's just like pieces of it falling, and I walk through the spraying blood, my eyes turning red, looking for something else to hit, and then I run up as far as, or I run to the closest hostile creature that I can.
All right, so you can make it all the way up to the one next to Ulthane.
And we've taken care of the ones around the woman and her child.
Not entirely. So there's 1, 2, 3 of them left.
Oh, well, that's where I was.
Right. So the other 3, the one pushed himself so that he's flying. Now these guys are off the deck. There's no way to get into melee range with them other than to jump onto them and hold them.
Yeah.
Be a hell of a way to go.
Yeah. I'm going to then stand between, instead of running up to the nearest enemy, I will stand between these flying things and the woman and her child, trying to give a little bit of cover, and I'm ready for more.
Ulthane, it is your turn.
Well, seeing Critter is still back there in melee, and pretty much that he's been hit than I would like for him. I'm going to attack the two that's in front of me. That'll be a 16 and a 20.
A 16 hits, so both hit.
The one dude will take a whopping 19 points of damage.
So that
the
one's,
tip of the hammer.
there's only one of them that's around you, and that 19 points of damage didn't kill him. So if you want, you can hit this guy again.
Both attacks together.
Okay,
Yeah, that's both together.
nice.
And as a bonus action, I'm going to cast Shield of Faith on the Raging Cat, swinging a long ass sword wildly. Half scared he's going to cut himself for some reason.
So what does that do? That gives him +2 AC.
It's a
Very good. Oh boy. So the snicked that's between you guys, that's in the green and white mask, kind of looks and sees you deal this mighty blow, and so he turns. And as he turns, he sees what does the Shield of Faith look like on Critter?
the Shield of Faith looks like Critter is actually wearing a suit of finely forged steel.
So this suit of finely forged steel, it almost has this this glow. If you're familiar with the character Armor, the Marvel universe, it's almost translucent, but it glows, and it's this somewhat vibrant color, which is heavily contrasted. The only thing that is not beautifully colored is this blood mist splatter that is on him. Those places are still like this dull rust colored blood that is not twinkly. It is not spectral. It is not magical. But it, go ahead.
Well, see, I was thinking of this because in the Elder Scroll game, when you use bound armor in ASO Online, he summons a suit of armor on you. So what I was thinking is any metal on Critter, like, will instantly just look like it's pouring off of him. But instead of like hitting the ground, it's literally as though it's extending over his body, protecting his vital areas. And once it to Critter, it's not vision enhanced. It's not vision impairing at all. It's as though he's still wearing what he's got.
Gotcha.
It's just it looks like all the metal off of him actually seems to melt and to forge this this protective shell over him.
Nice. So that brings your AC up to what, Critter? To 15?
Is it only a +2 bonus?
Yes.
Okay, then 15.
15. So he turns to see you, and he's actually going to make a stab at you.
He's got advantage.
I believe. All right. So he goes to make a stab at you. Does Ulthane have anything? Because you guys are both next to the same guy, and he's attacking somebody else.
Yeah, if he attacks Critter, I can use my reaction to attack him.
Okay. He is attacking Critter right now.
And it turns out you have advantage on melee weapon attacks.
Huzzah!
Yeehaw! Huzzah! Hold on. As soon as my dice roller will roll it. Okay. 16. And if a 16 is gold, he takes 8 points of damage.
Nice. So I'm going to take the wheel on this one. He's going to stab you, Critter. And as he does, this hammer comes and just clocks him across the side of the head. But you realize you kind of like brace yourself because this is another in a long line of stabbings that you have dealt with so far tonight. And you are kind of protecting yourself, but this shield of faith that started to form around you, all the metal and things like that have started to form different spots. The two little balls that were given to you by the pages, made of metal, were the two balls that jumped into place right as this stab was about to occur. And then they immediately dissipate back down, whereas the rest of the metal continues to form this shield of faith over you. So that snick is down. The ones on the left, there are 1, 2, 3 of those left. One of them is going to take a shot at one of the blaster shots at Cajun. Dun, 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 dun. And it misses and crashes into the airship. The airship. One of the other ones that is flying off of the side takes a shot at Gardain. Gardain, your AC is pretty ridiculous, isn't it? Yep. He misses. And the last one, who's flying off the side further up the line, is going to take a shot at that guard that poked his head out. And that's going to hit. And it does 3 to him. Great. All right. So then the pink one, who is underfoot, the pink mask anyway, who is underfoot of the wolf, will attempt to stand up. I always forget this. Does that draw an attack of opportunity? And so it is going to take a stab at the wolf. Does a 15 hit the wolf? Did I ask that already?
You do hit the wolf, yes.
All right. And that deals 2 damage. Bummer.
Was this the one with the pink mask or the one that's by himself at the moment?
The pink mask is the only one that's left. Well, of the ones who landed on the boat originally.
I mean, the wolf. Which wolf is it? The one with the pink mask or the one that's by himself?
The one with the pink mask.
Sweet. Yep, it's taking a bit of damage.
All right. And then the ones on the right side all start to reel back to shoot these blasts. And Cajun, your spider sense tingles. And you turn around, and just as you turn around, all of these flying snakes on the right side are gone. But you did not see. Yeah, you didn't see what happened, but there are none of them there. And the 3 guards have all fallen back on their ass. It's your turn.
All right. Okay. So the ones that were on the woman and the child are now flying?
All 3 of them are flying off of the ship itself, flying off the edge.
Is there any still on deck?
The pink one, pink masked one.
Which has the wolf on it.
Yep.
And that's it?
Yep. There's the 3 on the left side and then the 1 in the pink.
I'll go to occasionally I'll go to the ones on the left side and just try and attack whichever one's closest.
So none of them are going to be in melee range. They're all 10 feet off of the side of the boat.
Oh, so okay, they're off. In that case, okay, occasionally I'll attack the one with the pink mask then. It's fine. 17 to hit.
That hit.
With 6 points damage.
Nice. How does your shillelagh take it out?
Yeah, I lift up the the staff, and as I lift it up, a big wolf's head appears at the tip of it and just bites down as I slam the staff down. Just bites into the shoulder, and the guy falls. And I'm still like shifting. The wolf can't reach any of them. So one wolf each will sprint to either side of the ship, to the left and to the right, sort of guarding where they might come back onto the ship if they ever do. So they're just there, ready to action to attack anything that lands next to them.
Gotcha. Gardane.
All right. So, how is everybody looking?
Wanting to throw you off the side of the ship.
We're fine.
What about the guards?
So there are a number of guards that are no longer with us. The only guard who looks hurt is the one that's in the far stairwell at the other end of the airboat.
Okay. If I move to him, would he be within 60 feet?
Yes.
Yeah, let me see. Do I need to pop off something that. Okay, nope, never mind. I can't. Yeah, okay. Be better if they were more of them. Okay. What about the flying man? How many more are still left, and how close are they still to me?
If you don't move, there are all three of them are in range. I say in range. They are all three. There's one that is, there are two that are 30 feet away and one that's 20 feet.
Okay, so I'm going to use my ring on one.
All right, he fails.
So he plummets.
Nice.
And I'm going to start. Yeah, I'm going to start making my way towards where the other guards are.
Okay. To the far end or
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Cajun, again, your spider sense goes off and you feel the boat feels like it hits something. It shakes, so everybody feels that. But this time you are quick enough and your eyes turn to the left side just in time to see this blindingly fast black tentacle swipe the other two down. And the other two snicks that were flying there are gone. And so now all the snicks are gone, but the boat definitely or the airship felt like it shook. And over a PA system, essentially, you hear, "Everybody hold on, we're about to hit it."
I brace myself.
Hit what?
So right as you hear the charging of this propulsion system, you see very quickly two tentacles on either side come up and grab either side of the airship. And then another one seems to have a hold of the back of the ship, and it finally boosts itself over the front, and you see this inky black tentacled, each tentacle lined with suction cups. This thing is as big as the boat itself, and its head pokes up over the edge. If anybody would like to make a nature check, you are welcome to.
I'd love to make a nature check. Nature. 15.
So with your 15, you do not know what this is, but you have definitely heard of something a lot like this, but it is not found around here. Closest thing that you can equate this to is, and you feel funny even saying it, maybe a kraken. But it has a hold of this boat, and it's pulled itself up, and you can see with each tentacle that's on board ripping parts of the banister, ripping them apart, pulling up parts of its tentacles off, pulling up planks of the deck itself. A couple of the guards and the snicked bodies just kind of fall to the side. The woman and child are scooted towards the middle of the boat, just terrified, and they see this thing up over the edge, and then those thrusters kick in, and as it does, the head of this thing drops underneath the bottom of it, and the tentacles seem to hold on for a moment, and then they flip and fall off the side, and you hear it descend and crash into the Everlast below. And as you do, you finally clear the top of the Everlast to now you are 50 feet above planes. You've made it to the other side of Chazarak's Folly. The basin is behind you. The ship is in disarray. It is still flying, but you don't know for how long, and I think that's where we're going to end tonight. So thank you, everybody, for playing. I appreciate you indulging me once again, and we should see you here in a couple of weeks. So thanks again. Goodbye, everybody.